A very big hello and welcome everyone to my very first unboxing video of some retro video games that I recently purchased using Yahoo Japan online auction. My name is Paul and I've been an avid retro video game collector for over 30 years. My channel is really about finding, fixing, and collecting retro video games and toys. Come along with me as I purchase some of these hard to find retro video games and systems using oversea online auction sites like Buyee, Rakuten, and Mercari, and then share with you how much I paid for some of these items, what were the shipment costs, what were the fees associated, and then open the items when they arrive with you. Talk about how much it might cost to refurbish, refresh, or fix some of these systems, and then do them with you online. So without further ado, let's start with our first unboxing. I've been searching for some exclusive retro video games which were only available in Japan for quite some time now. I purchased a total of 10 items in October over a span of 15 days from Yahoo Japan online auction. Sadly, since the site does not ship items won internationally, I had to use a proxy purchasing service. This time around, I used Buyee Japan, and my overall experience was quite good. As I won my auction bids, Buyee charged my winning amount to the stored credit card which I inputted when I first created my account, which is a must when you first create your Buyee account. In addition, I was charged a flat 300 yen purchasing fee for each winning auction bid. So since I won 10 auctions, doing the math, this totaled to 3,000 yen, around $30 Canadian or $20 US equivalent, but more on the total fees later. My items were then shipped domestically to the Buyee centralized warehouse facility in Japan. Since the owners of all the items were located across the country, the domestic shipping fee ranged as little as 370 yen to around 1,200 yen, depending on the size and weight of the items. When placing each of my auction bids, I had the opportunity to select, for an additional fee of 500 yen, whether I wanted to insure the delivery and or an inspection service, which is really a confirmation that the item I purchased was the item that the warehouse received. Buyee's warehouse kept each of my items for a period of 30 days, allowing for different domestic shipping times for the items to arrive, and it also gave users like myself an option to decide whether they want to consolidate some or all of their items into a few or one shipment package, which I did, and this service is completely free. A word of caution: once you select package consolidation and your items are consolidated, they cannot be unconsolidated. Once your package is ready for shipment, there are multiple options in how you would like your package delivered. For example, Japan Post Airmail, which takes around 6 to 12 business days. Another option is Sea Mail, which is one of the most cheapest options, but it takes around 1 to 3 months. There's FedEx or DHL, which takes around 3 to 7 business days. The option I chose was Japan Post International Courier or EMS, which is typically a good balance between cost and shipping times. After making my selection, there was an additional option for protective packaging at a fee of 1,500 yen, which I selected. And the consolidated package of all my 10 items took a total of 7 business days to arrive at my home in Canada. I received a tracking number for my package, and the items were updated as it arrived and went through different international checkpoints and mail waypoints. I'll provide you a complete itemized breakdown of all the shipping expenses, optional packaging fees, and duty costs at the end of this video. Now that I had a chance to open all the items that came in my Buyee package and just lay them out for you to see, each of the items were really well packaged. As you can see in the video, the box itself was double boxed. I think Buyee took some real care and concern in ensuring the contents actually came to my home undamaged. The items were also individually bubble wrapped, so I can confirm with you no item was damaged in any way. There was no scratches or scuffs that came in any of the package or items that I purchased. I want to share with you that Buyee is also not sponsoring this video in any way. This is just my personal own experience using this auction site this time around. I want to go through each of the items specifically and share with you how much I paid for each of the items and what are their current values on price charting. And I'd love for you to comment down below whether you thought the auction items were worth purchasing, and would you have done the same now that you know how much I paid for them. So I love controllers, and specifically controllers that came from Japan for the N64. I'm talking about the Hori N64 controllers, and I had a chance to purchase a few this time around. So just to share with you, I purchased this lime green one. And I purchased it for a total of, let's see here, $34 Canadian. And I think right now on price charting, it's worth around $80 to $90 US. This controller, if you've ever used Hori N64 controllers, feels so great in the hand compared to its original controller that you got when you bought the system. The stick itself is really durable and it lasts quite a long time, especially for those of you who've played, Mario Kart 64 or Smash Bros. It always goes back to center. And again, I love hearing that sound, the clickiness, and the buttons themselves work great. So I thought this was a really good buy personally. I've had a chance to buy quite a few Hori N64 controllers over my time. And one of my favorites, my favorite color, is this blue version, this royal blue version. And I got a really good deal. I personally think I paid $29 Canadian for this. And the value on price charting is quite similar to the green one. It's worth around $80 to $90 US. But again, it feels great in the hand. I tested it, it works. And again, the buttons feel great, clicky. The last one that I purchased this time around, and I think I got lucky, was a special edition that came out in the year 2000, and it is the Winter Limited Edition, clear purple or transparent purple color. And I had a chance to buy this in complete in box, and it said in its description that it was never used. So the controller itself doesn't appear to be used. It looks, the controller is nice and clear, no scuff marks. The actual controller pad is a bright gray. Doesn't look like it has any wear or damage. The controller box was a little bit crushed, but it came in the product description that it was damaged, but the controller itself is in really good condition. I purchased this knowing a couple of tips and refresh sort of fix-it repairs using a cool iron specific to like plastic packaging. So in my next fix-it repair video, I'll show you how we can bend this or iron this back into its proper shape. But I think I got a good deal for it. Complete in box, I paid a total of, let's see, clear purple, $43 Canadian. And I think right now it's worth around $120 to $140 US. Another console or system I'm obsessed with that is specifically only available in Japan is the Wonderswan. And so I had a chance this time around to buy a few Wonderswans, the original monochrome white and black colored Wonderswans, as well as a few Wonderswan colors. I got a complete in box skeleton blue version right here, and it looks in beautiful condition. The only thing that's wrong with it is, as you can tell, it's the polarizing screen or the polarizing lens filter. Oftentimes, handheld consoles around this period, like the Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Pocket, there are issues with its polarizing lens or polarizing filter. It erodes over time due to sun damage. And so there's a couple of tips and tricks that I'll be able to show with you or share with you in my next video of how we actually repair it using its original lens filter. Wonderswans actually utilize monochrome white and black LCD screen, an NEC screen, and uses a specific brand of polarization filter called an FSTN. And it's I'll be able to share with you how we return it back to its original form, making it look beautiful again. But I think I got a good deal specifically on this one. I only paid $13 Canadian, and I think value right now on price charting, it's worth around $100 to $120. I also got another complete in box Wonderswan original. This one is blue metallic. It has its same issue, or the same issue with its sort of greenish looking tinge with its polarization filter, which again I will look to fix and share with you in my next video. But overall, the body of the Wonderswan is quite beautiful. Both Wonderswans turn on when I tested them with a AA battery. And it came with its manual and also its identification sort of documentation. And I paid for this silver blue version a total of $32 Canadian. And I think this one is worth around $100 to $120 US as well. I also love to collect is the special edition Wonderswan Color editions. I picked up a couple of Final Fantasy versions. This one is the Final Fantasy 1 version. It's originally supposed to be white color, but I think over time it has eroded. I'm gonna look to do some refreshing of, putting it into potentially a new body, or also maybe replacing its LCD screen with a new IPS LED screen, or maybe even changing its lens filter, its polarization lens filter, to make it looking beautiful. But it turns on, it works great. And how do you know the difference between a Final Fantasy 1 and a Final Fantasy 2 Wonderswan Color is the Final Fantasy 1 versions use a black sort of logo font on the bottom right-hand corner of its screen. And it has a logo on the upper left-hand corner of the screen. And the Final Fantasy 2 versions has its font in sort of a light blue writing, and there's a quotation on the upper right-hand portion of its screen, and the quote actually says, "And we meet in the truth." And so when you see that, that's how you know it's a Final Fantasy 2 version. The difference in its price and its value is negligibly about the same. I paid for this Final Fantasy 1 version $46 Canadian. I think its value right now is around $120 to around $140. It does turn on, and some notable facts about this, Wonderswan Colors in general, is oftentimes there's a little bit of issue with sort of their start buttons that, they over time erode, so you can turn on the system, but you can't really turn them off. And I'll share with you in the next video, our repair video, of how we actually do some diagnosis and actually fix these common issues with the Wonderswan Color. So this is the Final Fantasy 1 version. And here's the Final Fantasy 2 version. Again, it's a little yellow over time, and I hope to do some refreshing, do a different body change with a new shell that I can purchase. And the system itself worked great. I tested it with a couple of games that I had. And the Final Fantasy 2 version, I paid a total of $45 Canadian for both the ones I purchased. And I think right now on price charting, it's worth around $120 loose US. The last one I want to show you is the black skeleton Wonderswan Color that I purchased. There's a notable issue with some of the Wonderswans again with the polarization filter or lens, and I'll look to share how to replace these specific screens in my future video. I am a big fan of Wonderswan skeleton bodies. I love specifically this orange one that's quite often hard to find. And this black skeleton one I purchased for $32 Canadian. And I think right now the value for this one is around $100 US. Again, this is a loose version of this system. A couple of software pieces I picked up in terms of a little Wonderswan original was I was able to purchase the Gundam or SD Gundam G Generation Gather Beat game, complete in box. And so on the auction site, it said that the game was new, never used. And what's hard compared to some of the sealed games that you can purchase out there, like the Nintendo or the NES or N64, is that new sealed games from the Nintendo, you can always tell by, their identifier is the H scene. But the Wonderswans, when they were purchased new, or when you buy them in the store originally in the early 90s, were that the games themselves weren't sealed in any way. They're just like boxes that you can open. And so right now when you go to stores in Japan, like Super Potato, stores in Akihabara, and when they say the games are new or sealed, you might see that it's been repackaged, like this one that I think I purchased in Book Off. It was like a Book Off purchase online via the website, and it looked like it's been resealed. I think the value right now for this specific game is $140 US, but if it's sealed or new, it's worth around $320. And so I was able to purchase this game specifically for $32 Canadian. Last but not least, the final game I want to show you is a loose game. It's actually one of my favorite games on the Wonderswan, and it goes right back to the creator of the Wonderswan and also the creator of the Game Boy and the Virtual Boy. It's Gunpei. It's a really cool puzzle game, and there's also a really cool version, Gunpei EX, on the Wonderswan Color. I paid a total of $18 Canadian for it, and I think right now the value of this game is around $30 to $35. Again, it's one of my favorite games, and hopefully if you've played it or have it, I'd love for you to comment down below. These are all the pickups that I have, and right now let's go to the breakdown. Going to the breakdown, how much did it actually cost me to buy these 10 items using the Buyee online website? Well, just for purchasing expenses alone, it cost me a total of $329 Canadian. This includes the $3 per item that I paid to Buyee for each of my winning auction bids. I also paid an additional $5 per item to get the shipping confirmation to ensure that whatever the seller advertised actually was received by the centralized warehouse that Buyee owned. So that was a total of $329 Canadian off the bat. When I look at shipping expenses, the domestic shipping fee from the seller wherever they're located in Japan to the centralized Buyee warehouse cost me a total of $75 Canadian. I also paid an additional $14 Canadian for consumption tax. This is really sales tax because some of the sellers on Buyee are retail stores like Hardoff and Bookoff. I paid the optional $15 Canadian for the protective packaging fee. And as you saw in the video, I felt like it was a worthwhile cost because all my items were individually bubble wrapped. Even the package that the box came in was double boxed. It had airbags around it to ensure that the box didn't move or shift as it was being transferred to Canada. Last but not least, the international shipping fee from Japan to my home in Canada cost me a total of $88, bringing the total of all the shipping to $191 Canadian. Now, if I did the math, the total cost to Buyee was $520 Canadian. Now, once it arrived in my home and it was delivered by Canada Mail or postal service in Canada, I also had to pay an additional $35 for duty. And so that brought a grand total of all my items, including duty, to $555 all in. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, was that a good deal? Would you have done that? Please leave a comment down below. But when I look at the items currently on price charting and their value, the value of my items is $1,180 US. And if I look at the exchange rate in Canada right now, the value of my items in Canada totals to $1,581. And so I think I made a profit about $1,000. So again, love for you to leave a comment down below. Would you have done the same thing? Do you think it's worth your time or your value doing something similar? And would you actually try using the Buyee website for yourself? Well, in the meantime, please, if you like this video or would like to see content like this or similar, give me a thumbs up, share this, and please subscribe. Be on the lookout for my next video where I'm going to refurbish, refresh, and repair some of the items that I purchased in my first unboxing. But in the meantime, please keep safe and keep on hunting.